Afternoon, evening, everybody, whenever you're watching this. Jay here at The View, 20th of January with your Leeds news. And what I was saying was there's loads of notes. There's tons of stuff happening today. So we're going to get into that as well. It is a Friday stream as well, so I will have a quick chat in comments as well. So we've got a couple of people there. Hit the like button, has been said. The algorithm's a Leeds fan today. Yes, as Alex from the American Leeds podcast always says, you control your algorithm. So if you want to hit the like button, I'd appreciate that. Pushes the video. And if you want to subscribe, this is my one a week. So if you want to subscribe and support the channel, big growth week. We're only, I think, 160 people off 5,000 subscribers, which is outstanding and amazing and awesome and all the great things. So thank you very much. And a hello to Kai, James, and I was going to say Bert in chat because I can't pronounce the rest of that. Let's get into the news and have a quick chat about it. Let's start off with the FA Cup stuff and we'll move on. Sorry, Sniper's here as well. Hello. Sorry. Or Shripper. Sorry, I have no glasses on. I should be wearing glasses for this. Hjulmand's last name, Province. I don't know what that means. We'll get to that. Okay, let's crack on. FA Cup update. So Leeds FA Cup 4th round clash against either Accrington Stanley or Boreham Wood will take place now on Saturday, January 28th at 12:30. It will be broadcast live overseas. For all of us Irish people watching this stream, we are unfortunately grouped in with the UK, I think, with this, so we probably won't see it unless it's on a Premier Sport or an ITV one if they get it. But I'm sure there'll be plenty of links floating around. Anyway, let's move on then. Let's talk about some outgoing news. And the news broke last night, and Jesse's covered the press conference today as well. Max Dean has left Leeds on a permanent basis and has headed down to Milton Keynes to link up with his previous under-23 and under-21 manager, Mark Jackson. Max Dean, 18-year-old, just probably blocked by the amount of people in front of him at the moment in terms of a pathway. Leeds keep talking about protecting pathways. Dean's a very instinctive finisher. If you watch the goals that he has scored for the under-18s, under-21s and under-23 sides last year, a lot of them are about his ability to find gaps and space in the back line. Very much of a sniper or a striker, kind of a fox in the boxy type player. Lovely finisher. I think he'll do really well at Milton Keynes Dons. What's interesting about the deal is that Leeds have a sell-on clause in the contract. So great move for Max. He goes to get some games. He goes to go off and play some football and get his confidence levels up and show what he can do down the pyramid. So fingers crossed he comes back. Back up the tier, back up the ladder, like something like Luke Ayling did when Arsenal let him go. But Leeds do have a sell-on clause in that deal, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with him down the line. So good on you, Max. Hope you do well, mate. Give us some good news, Jared. I'm trying. I'll get there. I'm trying, mate. I'm trying. Let's move on to some incomings, and there's two midfielders to talk about again today. One from yesterday and one that's been floating around for a while, but we'll get into it. Martin Hjulmund, the Italian journalist Rudy Galletti, has been given some updates on this, and he's now said that although Leeds United are interested in the Danish midfielder, Nottingham Forest and Southampton are also said to be interested in the player, or at least Nottingham Forest were still interested in the player. He's a regular in the midfield now for Lecce, captain, doing great stuff down there. Was very important to them coming up last year into Serie A, and they're doing okay this year. They're sitting mid-table, 11 points clear of the relegation zone, and he's been a very important player to them. Can play as a holding midfielder, which could help us out with more cover for Tyler Adams. And Jesse talked today an awful lot about the ability to rotate the squad and give people rests and make sure the team is still fresh without weakening it. And I think bringing in another defensive midfielder would give us the option, especially with Adam Forshaw's injury issues. And a young player who's got years ahead of him as well to grow and develop with this very young and very talented look inside at times. So that's positive. What I will say is, and what has been said as well, is that Nottingham Forest's interest in the player might not be what it was on the back of the fact that they've signed Danilo from Brazil. And Danilo is a more sitting midfielder as well for them, so they might not be interested in another midfielder in that way. So we'll have to still wait and see what happens there. But Leeds said to be interested in the player. And the fee is quite small. They're saying a fee of in around £9.6 million, which might be giving Leeds food for thought on the Azzedine Ounahi deal as well, which is significantly more expensive. And speaking of which, we'll talk about that. And according to Phil Hay on the Phil Hay podcast, Phil has said Leeds are still interested in the player, and the move for the player is still very possible. He also said, though, that Leeds are still to decide what to do in this situation. The issue is, and I keep saying it, the issue is that Angers in France wants the player back on loan for the remainder of this season. Leeds are looking at the player to come in and be part of this season's campaign, and that seems to be the stumbling block. We did say that the president had gone and travelled to England to meet an unnamed Premier League club. We hoped it was Leeds. It turned out it was Aston Villa. So they're in the mix as well, but Leeds could still have a look at him. But it's a case of between, do you look at a player like Ounahi, who you might not get what we saw in the World Cup? You know, he's not like that every week. And Angers play a very different system to Morocco, so that might take some time. Then you've got the possibility of Hjulmund coming in, who's a slightly different midfielder. So Leeds still in the market for a central midfielder. Who that's going to be, there's been lots of names linked over the winter and just before we started into the transfer window. So it's going to be an interesting one to see where Leeds go. But they are looking at it. Andrew Rich says that Chris Wood's gone to Forest. Yeah, I know. Yeah, off you go, Chris. Another player for Nottingham Forest. Can't wait to see their financial fair play stuff when it comes out in a year or two. No sponsor either, so we have to wait and see. That's pretty much it from a news perspective. Not an awful lot going around, but I am going to talk about Jesse's press conference and look ahead to the Brentford game on Sunday. And we'll start off with this, and we'll look at the injury stuff. So if you haven't seen it, we'll get into it. So, actually, before we get to that, we're not finished. Let's have a quick chat about an article that came out according to Deloitte. Leeds, one of the richest clubs in world football, apparently. And what this is according to the Deloitte Money Football League, which profiles the financial performance of the highest revenue generated clubs in the world football. English teams are dominating the top 20 with 18 Premier League teams in the top 20 earners in world football right now. Leeds have ranked in 18th, and what this is said to be down to is it's due to the continued participation in the Premier League, and you know, revenue coming in there as well. You still have the York family to potentially come in at the end of this season or beforehand, which would add more money into Leeds as well, and bigger probably sponsorship and revenue avenues as well for Leeds, which will only make Leeds hopefully a better club. Big thing is, got to stay in the Premier League. So let's get on to Jesse's press conference and talk about the press conference. See, Sasa Lukic mentioned in the comments, it's gone quiet on him, a player I would like to have seen Leeds go for, but doesn't look like he's a player that they're going to go for right now. I could be surprised. All the players we've talked about over the last couple of months that Leeds have looked at have been linked with, and then you see Jorginho signing for Leeds, and it's like wasn't linked at all until pretty much 2 weeks before he signed for Leeds. So, you know, anything can really happen. It's all rumour and conjecture until it actually happens. So, you know, we just react and work off that. Let's talk about Jesse's press conference. The injury stuff. Stuart Dallas is still out. Archie Gray is back around, but is still suffering, so he's not fully ready yet, but could be another week before he's back in the team. Crescencio Somerville should be back in training next week, and Adam Forshaw is out. Asked about Adam Forshaw's injury, and basically what Jesse Marsh has said is that he had a small procedure, not an operation. It was more of an injection to try and clean up the area that's been causing problems. Because he's been out for so long, the body's probably not as strong as it needs to be. And they've decided to take a step back with Adam Forshaw, and instead of just keep pushing him into the team where he's picking up these little small tears and knocks, which by the way is completely in line with a player being out for a very long time, which Forshaw was. They've decided to take a step back, work on strengthening in the player, working on getting him up to full fitness in the gym and on the pitch, and getting him stronger before they push him back into the team as well. So they're taking a different approach with him now, so we'll have to see. Moving on then from the injury stuff, availability for the squad. He said Jorginho looks like he could be in the team, and he's looked good in training this week, and he said he should be part of the squad. Outside of outside the ones we've mentioned, it's pretty much a full strength squad. Cooper should be okay, and Max Vober is also in line, having trained today as well. So good news there. Needs to be in the starting 11 for me. Leeds said yesterday Leeds haven't conceded in the 3 games when he's been on the pitch, so important for us to keep him on the pitch. Moving on then, he talked about the performances that we needed, and he said, look, we know what we needed. They've looked at the Brentford game an awful lot. They've looked at set plays specifically today, and they've analysed the areas of concern with Brentford. The direct balls. That's pretty much it. And set pieces and counter-attacks, which we are very guilty and very prone to. But he said they've focused on set plays. He said that they've had some great performances over the last couple of games, and the confidence is there. But ultimately, you know, you need results. So he said that's where their focus is now. Players that but the sacking comments that were made during the week as well, and the report that came out, Jesse heard about it from somebody contacted him about reports in Norway talking about it, and then there was reports then about the players coming to him. So he said actually the players approached him. He said he was aware of it anyway, but the players approached him about it. It was great to see that they were behind him, and he said they weren't happy with it. They were annoyed. He's annoyed. Everyone's annoyed at it because it just, you know, puts unnecessary attention on the club when it's not there. So didn't happen. Move on. That's pretty much it. When he was asked about the transfer stuff, he was asked about, you know, you've said that you're refusing to talk about transfers, and that kind of goes against your normal, you know, open nature. And he said that basically with this, he said, is that there's an obsession in the UK with the transfer market that's not anywhere else. He said that previously. And he said it takes away from the team's work that they're doing now when you're focusing on new people coming in. You know, he wants to focus on the players that he has right now. He said also it allows Victor Orta and Angus Kinnear to go off and do their job without pressure being mounted on them, because he's made a comment in a press conference. It's very logical, very sensible stuff. Makes perfect sense for me. So, yeah, we'll have to... That's that, so that's why he's not doing that. Asked about the system, I think we're starting to see a move back to the 4-2-2-2 system, potentially with the players that have come in. And talking about this system and asking, will he play with a front two? He said, absolutely. He said, we've got flexibility now in multiple areas of the park. And he said he doesn't see a time not far from the future where the likes of Pat Bamford, Rodri, Jorginho could all start together with Sinister, could all start together in the exact same team, which would be a hugely exciting team. If only we could get the defence sorted. If only we could get the back line sorted. Lots of other stuff talked about, small bits and pieces, but he said about the players coming in and, having lots of competition for places in attacking areas now. He said, look, it's a good position to be in. It's what Leeds want. He wants to be able to rotate the squad around, keep players fresh. The ability to rotate players means you can bring different players in for different games, change the dynamic of the team and the games. It also changes the shape of a game as well and keeps it fresh. So, it makes it hard for teams to plan against you when you're rotating your team and you've got good players to come in and replace good players. It makes it very hard for teams to prep for that. So, if he's moving back to his 4-2-2-2 and he's got the players this time he thinks that can play that system, the issue's going to be the back line for me. I keep saying it. I won't stop saying it until it's fixed. That's the big one for me. And then he said, just asked about, what's needed. And he said, look, time, ultimately, he said. But he said, we need to push on from here. He said, look, we've had 2 really good performances in the last 2 games. Fair enough, we didn't get the result against Villa, which upset everybody, but 2 good results. And he said, but he knows that the points are needed. And he says their focus at this point now is taking those last 2 performances, seeing if the penny is dropped and putting it into practice on the pitch. So we'll have to wait and see. Look, it's for me personally, the next 2 league matches are huge. I think Leeds need to get minimum 4 points between Forest and Brentford. There's a lot of pressure on these teams that are strengthening as well, and teams are getting better as well in their run. So it's important that we get results here. 6 points would be the dream. Makes everyone a bit more comfortable as well and pushes us on. But we need to get results, especially at home. And for me, I'm going to keep saying it, we need clean sheets. We need clean sheets. That just takes the pressure off everybody if we get clean sheets. So, yes, the system is an issue. I've talked to people today on Twitter. Yes, the system is an issue because it exposes our defenders to situations they're not comfortable in, 1v1s. I keep saying that if you've got players that are, Liam Cooper for an example, can attack balls all day, good in the air, actually has a wonderful left foot to pass out from the back. But if you're going to get him exposed one-on-one, then you're going to expose the weaknesses in his game. And a good coach and a good system will make sure they create something that doesn't expose their weaknesses. And, that's a big part of it. So Leeds need to put a system in place and players in the park that can actually keep clean sheets. That's going to be huge. So we'll have to wait and see. But that's it. It's pretty much it. Look, I said I think it's a big game. I think there'll be goals in this game. I think Brentford have goals in them. How Ivan Toney is still playing when Jordan Stevens got 6 weeks or 6 months or 6 games of a ban for 1 or 2 betting infringements, and Toney's well into the hundreds of betting situations, and yet still kicking around, which is shocking. But hey, I wonder what that's all about. But yeah. He's a good player. We've got to be mindful of him. Set pieces, free kicks around the edge of the box. No stupid free kicks around the edge of the box. We just need to be mindful of that. We've talked before about Ilya Meslier is probably one of his biggest weaknesses in his game is his ability to set up a wall in the right place, and he concedes some free kicks. But outside of everything else, he's a fantastic goalkeeper and does great things for us. But we need to just be... We just need to make sure we just don't give away opportunities at the edge of our box. That's the first thing. Counter-attacks will be a problem as well. As long as the defensive midfielders are doing well, we should be okay. Question about Charlie Creswell recall. Haven't heard anything else on it. The rumour is Leeds will look to recall the player, but they haven't ruled out selling him either. That's not to say they will sell him. It's just they have options. They have bids coming in for the player for permanent moves and for loans. So again, that's going to be one's going to go further down. There was the deal around Diego Montero, who is a young... centre half who was linked with Leeds yesterday and the day before. The issue there is Leeds can't move for him until the 28th of January because he's 17, and with Brexit he can't be brought into the country until he's an adult, so he has to hit 18. So that's the issue there. Gonna go for predictions. Part of me thinks it'll click and we'll get a 3-1 win. I still think we'll concede, but if we can keep a clean sheet or if we can score early and dominate the game early on, I think we should be okay. So for me, 3-1 for Leeds. I'm being optimistic. It could very easily go the other way and be 3-1 to Brentford. It's that kind of those two kind of teams who are both can score goals and both can concede goals. So we're in that weird space at the moment. That's pretty much it, folks. Let me know in the comments about your predictions for the game. Be nice to each other in the comments, please. I just there's a bit of bit of stuff over the last couple of weeks. I don't like removing people, but be cool. We're all Leeds fans. We're all pulling the same direction. We all want Leeds to be great. So let's be cool to each other. Look after each other as well. Yeah, be nice to each other. And have a fantastic weekend. I won't be back tomorrow or Sunday. Back on Monday. I have a birthday at the weekend, so I won't be doing any videos over the weekend. But I'll be back on Monday to have a chat with everybody. And yeah, we'll have a chat then. Have a great weekend. Fingers crossed you get a great result. Mind yourselves. See ya.